Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure review. Okay, so recently I acquired this. This is a used second-hand Aquaman action figure. So it's a pretty cool looking figure. Now this is not in line with a McFarlane multiverse action figure or even a Mattel Classics DC Universe figure. This is a much more I don't want to say dumbed it down. It's a much more simplified, basic action figure that's aimed at kids. This does not necessarily have the collector in mind completely, but it's pretty novel. It's about, let's see how tall this guy is. This guy is a little under 6¼ inches. Here he is next to a McFarlane figure, just to give you an idea of the size. You know, he's really, really dwarfed by the McFarlane multiverse figure. So this version of Aquaman that we're looking at kind of represents the live action Jason Momoa version of the character. And let's look at him up close. The likeness isn't the greatest. It almost looks like a weird mix between Jesus and John Travolta's character from Battlefield Earth. But for me, it's forgivable. I love the costume a lot. It's a great looking action figure. So this is what the figure looked like initially when it first came out. Let's take a look at it. So this is the figure as it appears. Alright, come into focus here. Alright, gotta get this guy in focus first. Alright, there you go. Alright, so this is what the action figure looked like when it first came out. It was a part of the Batman vs. Superman line. And it recreates his costume during that brief cameo in the movie. The original version, as you notice, it has metallic green pants, gold armor, and even has the tattoos on his body. Where this was I believe the second release of the figure. So this one was a repaint. Instead of gold armor, he has silver pieces. They do away with the tattoos, and the pants are a different color scheme as well. So what I like most about this figure, though, is that it's kind of this figure is kind of recreating the look that Aquaman had in the actual comic books, which is right here. So I thought it was really cool that they kind of they wanted to do something with the first mold of the figure and offer a repaint, but instead of just, giving you some random thing, they kind of made it a bit more meaningful, and they kind of gave him a much more comic book inspired costume. So I think it worked well altogether. They kind of colored the tights, much like the comic book version. And same with the gladiatorial armor. So this is actually one of my favorite versions of Aquaman, if you've read the comic books. There was a period when Arthur lost his left hand, and he kind of had this like hook hand. And much like a lot of characters in the 90s, it was very fashionable for him to wear kind of like that striped metal banded armor. And then he even grew his hair out and even had the beard. This is my favorite version of Aquaman. I just love this costume. I kind of wish McFarlane would dive deep and give us this dude. And here is a picture of what the box looked like for the second release of the figure. We could do a side-by-side comparison of the two. So you can see they retained the same card back, but the figures are different. It's essentially the same mold. It's just repainted. I kind of wish they would at least give this guy a different name. Maybe call him I don't know, Royal Aquaman or something bizarre like that. Just to differentiate it, from this one. Alright, let's take a look at this figure real quick. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, the likeness to actor Jason Momoa isn't the greatest. The paint is nice though. There's kind of a fade. It kind of like starts off like a dark brunette towards the top and then kind of lightens up towards the bottom. He even has that stripe down one of the eyebrows. The flesh tone is really nice. I kind of feel like they could have done more with the gladiatorial armor in terms of paint application, but this is a basic figure and a budget one at that, so it's kind of appropriate that it's not hyper detailed. He has the Aquaman emblem, or the Atlantis emblem, on his belt buckle. He has the comic book inspired colored tights. Over his left hip, he has the armor plating. And this figure came out in 2015, so it's about 7 years old. He has the fins on the back of the boots like Aquaman has. In terms of articulation, this guy's head rotates, but due to the hair colliding with the shoulders, it'll go so far. The arms rotate upward, and there's an articulated elbow, and it's a pinless design. And the elbow also is allowed for swivel movement. I believe there's a waist. No, there is no waist swivel. The legs kick up, and then the knees bend. Pinless design, very clean. So I believe when this figure was first released 7 years ago, it might have retailed for like $8 or $9, which isn't bad. You know, this was the much more affordable option when compared to like the DC Classics line of action figure that Mattel was producing also. So when this figure came out, you had options. You could either buy the much more premium figure for like $20, or you could buy this one, this one's smaller in scale than the Classics figure, and it's also it's a little bit, I don't want to say more durable, but this one's really aimed more so at children to be played with. You know, it's not as much as a collectible as the much more expensive Classics DC Universe figure. And this style of action figure is something they would continue later on also, beyond Batman vs. Superman. They also did that with Justice League and Shazam. You know, they produced similar action figures of the same quality and same price point. For example, here's the tactical armor Batman from the Justice League movie. You know, it's the same scale. I do believe this one has a little bit more articulation in the arms. So the arms, not only could they rotate up, but they also have outward movement like this, which this guy doesn't have. But it's nice, you know, if you bought the whole Justice League and some of these other budget figures, you'd amass a pretty sizable collection of these figures, and they look great together. You know, they're not on the same level as like a McFarlane DC Multiverse figure, or even an older Mattel DC Universe Classics figure, but I think they could kind of hold their own. You know, if you group a bunch of these together and put them on your shelf, it's kind of an impressive display. And if you have children, these are the kind of figures you want to hand off to them so they can go play with them, so they don't break, you know, your expensive collectibles. All right, so let's wrap this one up. Great action figure. You know, I love these budget action figures. I'm a big fan of them. You know, I'm really hoping that we get more of this kind of stuff. All right, so with that being said, once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. All right, later.